I'd like to call the Mentor City Council regular meeting for November 5th, 2024 to order. Invocation tonight will be given by me. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom with a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Mrs. Dowling?
Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Kirchner?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
He is excused.
Mr. Marne?
Here. Okay, so moving on. Council, you are in receipt of the October 15th, 2024 work session minutes.
Move to approve.
Second?
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Abstain.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Okay, Council, you are also in receipt of the October 15th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second?
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Abstain.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Okay. All right, public hearings, we have none tonight. Tabled legislation, we have none. New legislation, ordinance number 24-0-078.
An ordinance to authorize transfers of funds, advances of funds, and revisions to appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Ken?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malinowski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. Members of council, this ordinance does several things in anticipation of closing out our year. Firstly, it authorizes a permanent cash transfer out of the city's general fund, a little over $1.6 million. The largest item being the $1.5 million to additionally fund our medical self-insurance fund. It also authorizes a transfer out of our TIF fund, a little over $134,000 to close out a Sterling Court investment project that we had over the years. And then second section includes one temporary cash advance from the general fund to cover the CDBG expenditures that are anticipated both the new year and also reallocated substantially declared projects. Final section is section 3, and there are several appropriation adjustments. Largest increase, I think, is related to a transfer out $1 million. That is a combination of several increases to the general fund in the area of wages and just the need to have more budgeted when we do our actual transfer on the medical plan. I would recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Council?
Move to suspend.
Second?
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second?
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 24-0-078 has been approved. Second readings, we have ordinance number 24-0-076.
An ordinance amending Section 1165.01 of the codified ordinances of the City of Mentor 2006 as amended by enacting new subsection B9 to clarify that portable storage units are not permitted to be used as accessory building structures in the residential districts and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Joe?
Yes, Mr. President, Council recommend this matter be passed to third reading. It will appear for the first time on the Planning Commission's agenda this Thursday for the recommendation. As you're aware, but for the benefit of the public, Planning Commission meets every 3 weeks, so this ordinance, after its first reading, was referred to them, but just couldn't make their agenda. This will be the first time on Thursday it'll appear on their agenda. So again, not ready for action at this time.
Okay.
Move for second reading. Second.
Maybe third reading.
Third reading. Excuse me.
Second for third reading?
All right, Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Right. So ordinance number 24-0-076 will hear a third reading on November 19th. Moving on to third readings, we have ordinance number 24-0-071.
An ordinance enacting Chapter 752, Sections 752.01, 752.02, 752.03, and 752.04 of Part 7 Business Regulation Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Mentor, 2006 as amended, to establish prohibitions against short-term rentals in all zoning districts and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Before we hear from the law director, I'd like to call up two residents who would like to speak on this matter. First, I would call up Timothy Lining. And sir, if you could come up to the podium, give your name, your address, and realize you have 4 minutes.
Thank you. Timothy Lining, 5965 South Shandle. Thank you for your time. I'll be brief. I just want to reiterate a little bit and say that when I personally got into this, our people came down and talked to the city, and the city told us, and I'll quote whoever it was that my brother James, his wife here, spoke to. You know, they told us that our ordinances are antiquated and there's nothing in here specifically stating that you can't do what you want to do. And so that's how we got into it. And so whether that was right or wrong information, that's just what we were told. So we're not trying to purposely skirt anything. And like I said, you know, we're law-abiding citizens, and we believe and we feel that we're providing a certain clientele a much-needed service that, you know, our city, just for whatever reason, you know, it's not like we have premier hotels down here at the Bob Evans with the Super 8 and whatever that is across the street. There are a couple of other ones that are, you know, better, obviously. But, you know, I think we've all stayed in a short-term rental at one time, and it doesn't make us all, you know, transients or whatever you want to label those kind of people. And we run a nice place. We've got all 5-star reviews. And it's not even always short-term, you know, at our place. A lot of times it's a midterm where, you know, like I said, we've had people, a tree fall on their house or you know, various circumstances, tornadoes, fires, and families need a place to stay other than a hotel, you know. And then you've got the, you know, the people that want to come up here for, you know, a weekend or a week, or you've got a worker coming in to work at a hospital or something. And so we just feel that it'd be wrong to ban this, and we want to be part of a new solution and a new way forward. And thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, James Greenwood. Please come to the podium. You know the routine, name, address, 4 minutes, sir.
James Greenwood, 9393 Jordan Drive, Mentor. Just want to reiterate that however the council decides on this matter, we would encourage you guys to not prohibit an activity, but actually work with us in order to create meaningful dialogue whereby we could find a way to usefully employ our property in a way that brings us revenue and also would benefit the community at large and those that desire to know Mentor better. We just want to say we would love to be part of the conversation. We want to help you guys meaningfully orchestrate and format legislation that would actually be a benefit as opposed to just prohibiting outright this activity that is nationwide, that's something that serves many, many communities in a great way. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, Joe.
Yes, Mr. President, members of council, the Planning Commission at its can't remember the date, but its last meeting, did not make a recommendation. They were on these ordinances. They were informed that members of council, and they're kind of familiar as well with what transpired during your public meeting, we're interested to see if they would take a deeper dive on the question of short-term rentals in the city, and they are inclined to do so. And so pending the Planning Commission undertaking that deeper review and making whatever recommendations it will to the council, I recommend this and also the companion ordinance 072 be tabled.
All right,
Move the table.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Freeman.
Ord-
Mr. Freeman.
Freeman? I was missing someone.
Mark was ahead of me here.
all right.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, so ordinance number 24-0-071 has been tabled. Ordinance number 24-0-072. I'll give Julie a moment.
Move to
catch
table?
up.
You gotta read it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to read it.
I was going to do it.
Okay.
An ordinance amending section 1157.02 and 1158.05 of the codified ordinances of the city of Mentor 2006 as amended by repealing all provisions related to renting of rooms and short-term rentals and declaring an emergency.
Now, move to
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just to clarify, so what we're going to do is that we're going to have the administration work on this, come up with this, something, and then present it to council, present it to party, present it to planning, then it'll come to council?
Or we could have a work session on this.
That's what I was just going to end up with, yes, sir.
Yeah,
So, what should we start with? What would be most appropriate from our, I guess, from our law director? Because we are adding / changing our codes and ordinances.
I think in terms of timing, this would probably receive a work session in January. The next two work sessions are scheduled for budget.
Would that be enough time for the administration to come up with a game plan? Mr. President?
Yes, Ken?
Yeah, I anticipate that we'll work closely with the law director and perhaps, as you said, introduce to you some thoughts on how we could move forward and give you some options at your next work session, perhaps some ideas as well for the planning commission to consider as we would normally do. We do have several ideas on the matter that I think we've all shared already in part, and look forward to having that discussion.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and to answer your question, January would be timely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, but for now, it's before the planning commission, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The planning commission will give us advice and
Okay.
their position.
Table, move to table.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 24-0-072 has been tabled as well.
Yeah.
Manager's report. Ken?
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, an open cut request appears on your agenda at 6337 Dawson Boulevard. That request has been rescinded. It's no longer necessary. In other matters, the Mentor Police will be hosting their 11th annual Phila Cruiser Food Drive on Sunday, November 10th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Giant Eagle at 615 and Tyler Boulevard. Officers will collect non-perishable food items and cash donations, which will be distributed to local food pantries to benefit families within the city of Mentor. Over the past 10 years, officers have filled 24 police vehicles with food donations and collected almost $19,000 in cash donations to help those in need. And we thank the community for their continued support of this effort annually. City of Mentor will host a Veterans Day ceremony at 11:11 a.m. on Monday, November 11th, to honor those who have served our country in the military. The ceremony will be held at the Mentor Municipal Cemetery Memorial Promenade at 6881 Hopkins Road. The public is encouraged to attend. Veteran groups are warmly invited to participate, and for more information, please contact our Recreation Department. The ceremony will be recorded and aired later on the Mentor channel for those who are unable to attend. And in the event of inclement weather, the ceremony will be moved to the Mentor Senior Center at 8484 Munson Road. Council, our sidewalk repair program is continuing because of the great weather we've had. That should continue right through mid-November. Concrete repairs, because I know you've gotten a couple of calls and some interest in when that work will be done. On Diamond Center, they should be completed by November 15th. All other concrete work with the city's annual contract is completed. And finally, Council, we have several new businesses that we want to welcome into our community. Arctic Blast Bites at 9179 Mentor Avenue, Pinnacle Escrow and Title at 8806 Mentor Avenue, The Revo Group Incorporated at 7840 Tyler Boulevard, and Timeless Treasures on the Avenue at 8444 Menor Avenue. We thank them for their investment in the community and wish them great success going forward. That's all.
All right, thanks, Ken. All right, moving on, clerk's correspondence.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Commission committee reports. Council, you are in receipt of the meeting minutes of the Municipal Planning Commission, September 26, 2024. Old business.
Mr. President,
Yes.
when we had the two presentations on power outages, the work sessions, and First Energy came, I think you had made the ask from them that if they do any improvements, for them to at least make you and the administration aware of those. I didn't get a sense of any commitment on that. Is there going to be any follow-up conversations with them about, in the future as infrastructure is improved, that they'll at least get our input on those things? And the reason I bring it up is Hoover Court lost energy again. I had a resident call who's made a substantial outlay to buy themselves a backup generator. And I promised, that as we discussed, that, when the time comes, we at least want to have some say as to where these dollars get spent and where we have recurring problems. So I'm just curious on that front.
Sure, Councilman. To answer your question, no, we haven't had any direct follow-up yet. I did, however, run into Ms. Zeely, who gave that presentation recently, and she did acknowledge that she owes us a follow-up some information. So we'll continue to press her on that, and because, as you mentioned, I think we're all curious to be able to know where that investment, if in fact it's going to be made, will be. So we'll follow up with you as soon as we get it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, new business. Hearing none. We have one person before council, Jeff Cook. If you'd come up to the podium, give us your name, your address, and you have 4 minutes.
All right. It's Jeff Cook, 5966 Andrews Road, and I run a business out of 7910 Tyler Boulevard. I'm allowed to ask questions, correct? Okay. So,
As long as there's no personal attacks.
okay, so one of my
or-
questions is, are there any open contracts where workers are working without a contract in the city right now? Dispatchers for about 2 years, corrections officers for about 2 years. We forgot about those guys.
All right.
Mr. President, if this is a question and answer, if you're
all right.
allowing a question and answer period, I can offer an answer, but I'm going to defer to your judgment on
I
that.
tell you what, if you've got an answer.
There are no employees who are part of collective bargaining agreements who are working without a contract.
Okay, so there you go.
Okay. Next thing, regarding the Menor Lagoons. Anyone that's gonna have a party down there, they have to come before you guys to have the party approved, correct?
I think we'd be more comfortable without this question format. I mean, if
You know
if
where
you've
it's
got,
going,
if
right?
you've got concerns or, let's hear those. Because usually council doesn't respond.
Okay.
We just hear what your concerns are and
Well,
then,
one of my concerns is, someone in this room having, a boats and hose party down at the lagoons that should have been, approved by the city and never was.
boats.
Boats and hose party down at the lagoons, Scott Marnes.
I don't think that's the right title for,
I have tons of pictures from your Facebook talking how awesome the party was. It seems there's a lot of conduct and complaints that I get from people that he tries to use with his position with the city, thinking he can just go around everything. So I think you guys need to look more into him and investigate him.
I don't see where you're going with this.
I'm just trying not to do a personal attack, that's.
I know, but
But there's, the next meeting, there's gonna be a lot of, proof and evidence of things that he's been doing in the city without consent and permission that he should be getting. And then there was an incident September 7th in the evening. I don't want to get too far into details with that, but if you request a police report, dash cam or body cam, you guys can see what was involved that evening at BW3's that I don't know all the details because the actual report hasn't been released yet, but it's a possibility that he may have provoked the situation and, you know, so.
Okay.
I just try not
That
to
it?
personal attack, but
Okay.
if you guys would do some research and dig into some things, and the next meeting I'll have more from other residents that have a lot of concerns about him.
Okay. Well,
But one thing, while the chief is here, I think we do have a great police chief. He's, you don't see many chiefs involved in the community with the kids and stuff, and that's something our chief does. And one of the latest things, he was at my son's, where they walk the kids to school. And that was one of the latest things he did. We do have a great chief, but,
okay.
all right, the next meeting I'll bring more, I don't want to do a personal attack and
All right, no personal attacks.
get, you know.
All right,
But
thank
I'm just asking for you guys to do some homework and look into his Facebook from September 7th. If it's been deleted, I have all the photos, everyone that was tagged in it.
All right, well, thank you, Mr.
So,
Cook.
All right.
All right. Okay. Mr. Kirchner, I think you have something
Mr.
to
President,
say.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn an executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, Paragraph G, Section 2, to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. The executive session being necessary because the premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest.
Second.
Very good words. All right, so. Oh, you got to vote on this? Oh, so
Let's move into
so
executive.
we could have a first and second. I think we got a second. Let's vote on that. And
Rule.
Mr. Blake?
yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Marr?
Yes.
All right,
There you
so
go.
our new conference room.
Here we go. Mr. President, I would move that we go back into regular council session.
Second.
All right, Julie, call the roll.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Marr?
Yes. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Sorry.
Move to adjourn.
Second.